So if I were to compile a ranking of like the top 500 things I've ever been distressed about in my life, climate change wouldn't make the list. It wouldn't even make it down near the bottom with the most obscure things I've briefly worried about in the past, like brain-eating amoebas and leprosy.
Of course, he's afraid of leprosy. You know, that just fits right into his worldview. So this is Matt Walsh going on about, you know, making fun of how silly everybody is that's any kind of concerned about climate change. And, you know, he is just so sure climate change is not a thing that anybody needs to worry about. So we're going to get into it. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. So like I said, this is Matt Walsh. I'm moving into some of the territory of making fun of these idiots because I've had a couple people ask, do you cover the Daily Wire? And usually I don't, but when it comes to like science denial and stuff like that, I think it's kind of fun, especially when it's one like climate change. It's like, really, man, you're just gonna be like, no, it's flatly false, and then act like that, and then act like anybody that doesn't think that way, they're just, they're crazy and silly. Meanwhile, you're concerned if a person with a penis has a dress on, that's just, well, whoa, that's something to get concerned about, right? It's like, you got to protect the kids from the dresses, not the guns, You support that. Yeah. The thing that actually kills the kid. No. Yeah. The dresses. That's the problem. Yep. Yeah. Got it. So kind of shows this, like what this guy's working with upstairs. Not much, he's had a very limited experience with the world, it seems, and doesn't really care to experience anything really. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let him start his thing.
For our daily cancellation, we begin with a recent article in the Washington Post discussing, as the headline announces, quote, how psychedelic therapy might help with climate change anxiety. Now, the piece is written by a mental health professional named Emily Willow, who starts by describing a recent session with an eco-anxious client. She writes, as our weekly therapy session drew to a close, my patient, a young woman in her early 20s, approaching college graduation, said that she had been feeling a lack of motivation, but that it felt different from her usual depressive symptoms. A worrisome climate change report had recently been published, and she felt paralyzed by uncertainty of what the world is going to look like. She asked, quote, how can I decide where I want to go? Will it even be safe to live in California when I'm older? Many of us are feeling a sense of powerlessness and despair over climate change and its harmful effects. As a psychiatrist, I've noticed a growing trend among patients in my private practice suffering from what mental health professionals are calling eco-anxiety and climate grief. Yes, climate grief, it's called, apparently. The article then goes on to claim that tripping on hallucinogens will somehow make you less delusionally terrified of an ecological apocalypse. Because, of course, if you're having trouble being reasonable and keeping things in perspective, the best thing to do is take LSD.
Or you can, just stick your head in the sand and just be like, my religion's true. My religion's true. My reality is what I want it to be. And stick your head in the sand and never, acknowledge actual reality. Unlike the people who, are microdosing, by the way. And it wasn't LSD, you fucking idiot. It was shrooms. It was microdosing shrooms, which has been, is proving to be actually pretty helpful for a lot of people. It's because it's a perspective shifting kind of thing, It's almost like why they call it tripping, because when you, and this is of course microdose, but like when when you trip and you like feel like when you get back and you come back from your trip or whatever, it feels like you just got back from a trip, like you went on a vacation, you came back, and you're like, oh man, I am so refreshed and ready to go back to life, That's and it's also perspective shifting. It also helps you kind of realize what actually matters, in your head, because it's, it can be a mess in there sometimes. And so this kind of therapy does actually help. And there's a lot of promising studies that demonstrate that. But of course, he can't handle any of this because he doesn't even believe that climate change is real and that it's happening. It's like the thing that is just it's so demonstrative. I don't know what to do with you. Honestly, if you are sitting there going, I don't know, the science just, I don't know how to tell, some of the scientists are disagreeing. If you're sitting there thinking that, then you're fucking crazy. You're not looking hard enough. You got to put scholarly into Google when you type shit, okay? Put peer reviewed in the Google bar. This is not difficult. Look up actual science. Make sure that it's a legitimate science journal, not some fucking psychologist saying that, oh, climate is just actually everything. So there is no, how do we even know? They say it's everything. Don't listen to that fucking guy. Yes, he has a doctorate, okay, in something completely different that he's literally actually got removed recently because he's so bad at it. But Jordan Peterson is what I'm talking about. Anyway, all right.
Now, that's what they always recommend for people to help them stay calm and collected. It's why airline pilots.
Dude, I would love to see Matt Walsh on some LSD. He would break down, because you know what LSD, like, it really weeds out the people that need to force like reality to be what they want it to be. You know what I mean? It weeds those people. Though that's the bad trip people. You know what I mean? When they're like, I had a bad trip, whatever. And you're like, why did you have a bad trip? Oh, because, it's like God was coming after me and all this like weird, because they're not okay with themselves. And that's one thing that hallucinogens will get you to fucking sort out. Like, are you, if you have any problem with yourself and if you're being dishonest with yourself, it'll hammer, you'll be uncomfortable until you are, you allow yourself to be honest with yourself. And that's one of the cool things about it, I think. When I used to do it, I didn't. Not recent, not anything. I just way back when I was in high school, or not high school. I was homeschooled, but after that, not within the past month or anything. Anyway, we're gonna go back. I don't know what
pilots are encouraged
looking
to
at me.
Drop acid 20 minutes before takeoff. I think I read that once in the FAA handbook. Anyway, I'm not interested in spending any time on the idea that hallucinatory drugs will help you be less anxious about unreasonable things. That's the kind of idea that you would have to already be on drugs to believe in the first place, so it's a moot point.
Maybe like you should get mad at the fact that there's more than one definition to a word. Maybe like definitions fuck this guy up. You know what I mean? He's like, hold on, he does a whole documentary now, deciding that a definition is one thing and doesn't understand that words are descriptive and not prescriptive. He doesn't understand that whole thing, and that it's based on common usages, not the definition. Definitions don't define words. The common usages do, and then we apply definitions based on those common usages. That right there is information that he doesn't understand. Like, that causes anxiety for him. He's like, what do you mean a chair has to have 4 legs? That's the type of stuff that bothers this fucking genius. So, and just a little shout out here. God Awful Movies just did What is a Woman? Go listen to that shit. It's good. It's really good. They did a great job of breaking that down and kind of showing exactly how stupid this guy is.
Instead, I want to talk about this underlying concept of climate anxiety, which has been getting a lot of press lately. It's an epidemic on the rise, we're told. Recently, PBS did an explainer on the topic. Watch.
Does anybody say it's an epidemic on the rise? Like, is that really? Are you sure? Are you sure, man? Or is it just like a PBS, like here's just in case a thing, that maybe might be bothering the younger people, since they're going to have to be the ones to deal with the shit that your generation fucked up, sir?
Recently, I've been spending a lot of time reading about climate change, and it's got me feeling anxious, a little tense, a bit frustrated.
Stephanie said, clipping his toenails probably bothers that fucking genius. Yeah, everything bothers him, except for the things that need to bother him, like climate change. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Frustrated, and I'm definitely worried about the future.
What? What is this, like an Evil Dead thing? Like it's the hand coming up out of the dirt,
And it looks like I'm not alone. People on social media are sharing their anxious feelings and fears about climate change. So much so, there's a name for this. It's called eco-anxiety or climate anxiety. Okay, so this isn't isolated.
It's interesting that once it has a name, that means that it's that's what you're like, man, it happens so often. We named it. Wouldn't you name it after like 4 times? Like, that's not so off. Anyway, I don't know. Small thing.
It's much larger than I thought. So before we go forward, let's practice some mindfulness. Come on, y'all. Let's take a deep breath. Come on, deep your breath, fill up those lungs, and another.
Get those pressure points. Get those pressure points. Come on.
I do have good news. In response to the growing trend of eco-anxiety, clinicians and psychologists are ushering in new techniques to help their clients deal with this issue. You
can tell the rainbow just sets them off. And there's a rainbow back there, probably telling them they got to be gay. That's what that is. That's a subliminal message right there. Kids, all my patients better be gay. That's what'll heal you from your climate change anxiety. Just deciding to be gay. Just do it. Just choose it, because you can do that.
I'll make it through, y'all. One more breath. The science of ecotherapy, or climate-aware therapy, is evolving, and there's plenty to learn.
No, I just want to pause here to give us a moment to.
There's plenty to learn. That's not. Don't learn stuff. Just decide stuff. Don't learn things. What are you learning? Just decide stuff. Okay, I'm a man. Okay, I use Rogaine on my beard.
Reflect on the phrase, the science of climate-aware therapy, which is like saying the science of leprechaun research. Now, it's already a massive stretch.
Are you fucking kidding me? The guy that believes that, donkeys talked and, a dude defied gravity by walking on water and things like that. This is leprechaun research, man. Really? Theology is fucking leprechaun research, just straight up, just all of it. Okay.
To claim that any form of mental therapy is scientific, but the claim becomes even more.
Holy shit. This guy is so fucking, man, no wonder you're so unwell, sir. So all mental health science, it's not real. It's all just made up. We have decades of research, tons and tons of studies after studies after studies on human behavior, which you can measure. You can study and measure human behavior. This is not difficult. We have tons of different ways. Yeah, it's what some people would call a soft science, but just because it's not like, get the beaker and, put the fucking personality in the beaker and add some, non-anxiety or whatever. Like, that's not how it works. It's a little bit more elaborate. It's not as exact, but it's the exact same method that we use for just about any other kind of science.
Dubious as you begin adding subgenres like gender-affirming therapy, climate-aware therapy, and so on.
So now he's mad at category. I mean, that makes sense. He is mad at categories, because he just, again, the definition thing fucks him up. The pronoun and definition thing, he doesn't know, it's too much for his feeble mind.
So this is already a load of nonsense, but let's keep watching.
It's so funny too. He's got a fucking banjo in the background. You know who I'm going to ask about science stuff? The guy that's got the prop from fucking Deliverance in the background of his video.
Eco-anxiety is a relatively new term.
Eco-anxiety has been defined by the American Psychological Association as the chronic fear of environmental doom.
That's Britt Ray.
Okay.
She's an expert at the intersection of climate change and mental health.
Okay, so real quick, I do want to, I pulled this up. I'm not going to share it, but I'm going to read from it. Okay, this is from education.nationalgeographic.org. Okay. Climate refugees are people who must leave their homes and communities because of the effects of climate change and global warming. Climate change is caused by the natural events such as volcanic eruptions, as well as human activities. Remember, 2 is higher than 1. That's the thing. It's really weird when people deny that climate change is happening, because there's 1.4 billion cars driving all over the planet. And if you park that thing in a garage and don't open the door, you fucking die. And there's 1.4 billion of those fuckers just rolling around this rock. So, I mean, come on, just use your fucking head just a tiny bit. This is not difficult, right? What the fuck? Anyway, and now we have climate, we have these climate refugees that has increased by a large amount in the past decade, right? And there are more climate refugees than there are political refugees. Them getting mad at all those people coming up to the border, and they're like, there's fucking people. Like, a lot of those people are climate refugees. Where they were living has become unlivable, mainly because of the fossil fuel industries and things like that are causing these changes. And then, of course, we want to sit back after making all that money and go, fuck you. You know, sorry, we fucked up your environment, but, you know, fuck off somewhere. Okay. Because we don't care. We don't care about you. You can starve for all I care. It's like, it's insane that people can be as heartless as they can about the fucking refugee thing. It's insane.
Britt, what are some ways someone might experience climate anxiety?
I'm Britt.
It can become so intense that it's debilitating. It can impair people's functioning. And then it really does need clinical intervention or support. But it can also trap us in a pit of fear and hopelessness if we aren't careful, and get us carried away in kind of a despairing narrative about the future being written off.
Even though someone might be dealing with these symptoms.
I mean, that's something that would be difficult, right? Especially if you were younger, right? Like, I don't know how much is going to be fucking up by the time I get old, but I know there is going to be shit fucking up by the time I get old. I'm not that old. I'm only like 40, you know? I still got hopefully 40 more to go. Probably not, you know, given my history, but, you know, hopefully, right? But yeah, so that's kind of scary, man. That you're like, yeah, in 20 years, we might not be able to breathe or some shit. You know what I mean?
It might be hard for a therapist to pinpoint the best course of action because eco-anxiety is not in the DSM-5, the manual that health professionals use to diagnose mental health disorders.
Well, don't worry about that.
Stephanie said he's a disgrace to banjos. Banjos everywhere are ashamed. They're ashamed. Every time this comes up, they're like, oh man, I'm actually not a banjo. I am the little, what's not the banjo, but the shit, I can't think of what it's called. The little fucking violin thing. I don't know. Fiddle. I'm a fiddle. That's
because that will change. Climate anxiety is another way for psychiatrists and pharmaceutical companies to make money. Another profitable mental health related grift. And so it will surely be.
Dude, you do not get to talk about grifts, okay, motherfucker? And especially not talking about something that demonstrably saves lives. And oh my God, what a fucking idiot. So he really does think this is all a conspiracy. They're just trying to give. Why is it then, if the whole grift is to get everybody to take a bunch of mental health medications, why is it that they don't like prescribing those fucking medications, jackass? Why is it always like, oh no, let's start with just therapy and let's start with just, you know, these things that we can do without putting chemicals in your body. Let's start with that. Why is it always like almost the last resort to give people mental health medications? Why is that then, huh? If the whole point is to sell fucking medications, jackass, then why are they doing it this way? Yeah, because you don't know what you're fucking talking about. Okay, Mr. Wannabe lumberjack, fucking backwoods cousin, fucking whatever.
Legitimized in the next edition of the DSM. That is, after all, the DSM's primary function these days. But what can be done about climate anxiety? I mean, that's really the question. What can we do about all this? How?
Stop burning fuel, you fucking moron. Like, buy an electric fucking car. Okay, maybe put up some solar panels like DeSantis wouldn't allow us to fucking do for free from the government. You know, shit like that.
Can it be treated? Well, let's find out.
The key here to unlocking strategies to deal with your own climate anxiety might have less to do.
Well, I'm sorry, Al, but I mean, you're a trucker. Of course you do. And we all do. Okay. Like a good banjo is awesome sounding. It really is. Okay. And you know, truckers like it more than most, I'd imagine. Right. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I always like imagine truckers listening to more like classic rock, maybe. Right? Am I right about that? Classic? Huh? What about not country? I'm not even going to entertain that fucking idea. But the kind of folk country, that's cool. All right, I don't mind that. But that fucking, you know, that cheesy ass, my truck is broken down bullshit. That can go fuck off right to hell. Okay.
Do with your individual effort to deter climate change, such as lowering your own greenhouse gas emissions, and more to do with building a climate crisis plan.
There was a recent article in the leading scientific journal Nature that said an important thing that individuals can do to address their climate anxiety is really focus on small aspects that they can control. A lot.
Because yeah, and you know what she's referring to, Nature. Is one of the most well-respected science journals of our time. It is extremely well-respected. And I don't even think that he realizes how dumb he is for letting her include the science journal that is peer-reviewed you know, and goes through blinds and has controls and has all these like checkers, checking the checkers, checking the checkers, check the checks, you know, all that stuff is what happens in nature.com. And they report the results there. And you can actually look through the actual studies if you want to. It's kind of hard sometimes. I've had to get actual scientists to look at it for me and like, you know, is this math right? Because I'm like, you know, I suck at math, okay, and percentages are fucking hard. God damn it. Sometimes you need somebody that actually understands how those kind of studies work in order to do it. Anyway, but yeah, and yeah, it's always been solid.
A lot of anxiety is provoked by the unknown and feeling like you can't control a situation.
Here's what
which is so funny because, and which is, you know, this man is proving this right now. He's doing what they're talking about, just not admitting it. He is so fucking scared. He is so fucking terrified that he's denying it outright. He's literally so, it's like the people that would be like, I won't live in fear. I won't live, like with the, you know, with the virus and everything. Like they were all saying that. And then they're like, and I don't even believe in it. Huh. You don't think that's a fucking fear mechanism? You dumb. Come on, man. We can all see through your shit. It's amazing. The one thing about conservatives that really kills me, they think everybody else is fucking stupid. Like we can't sit there and look at you lying and know that you're fucking lying. You know, it's like, how stupid do you think everybody is? They remind me of like a kid with chocolate all over their face. You know, and the cake is missing, and you know, but they're making every argument that just because you've never seen a chocolate cake disappear doesn't mean that it's impossible, you know, and they walk you through all the logical fallacies when you're like, yeah, but that's not, well, hey, what if this isn't? What if it's not? I don't know, you don't know. What if you're dreaming? You know, they like that one. They like that one. What if solipsism is true? You know, that's a lot of theists love that argument for some reason. I feel like you just lost, right? If you start questioning reality, you lose. That's it, right? Anyway.
Climate action plan might look like. If you're in a flood zone, consider using personal storage bins that are watertight or moving personal items to a higher level on the shelf. For more info on finding out if you live in a flood zone, check out the description below. Okay. Those concerned about drought might want to learn more about urban gardening or drought-resistant forms of agriculture that you can do at home. Now, above all, find yourself a community that is preparing to deal with the next catastrophic event, because
it's so funny too, because like to Matt Walsh, this is all fucking silly, right? But the doomsday prepper fuckheads, now that's normal, right? Like, you know, hey, you don't know, the sword-tongued light coming out of his eyes, Jesus on a white horse might come back, you know, which is actually something that you should worry about, right? Because now that's reasonable. The sword-tongued guy coming back from fucking back from the past, you know, whatever. That's normal to think. And it's, you know, perfectly reasonable to have a fucking bunker with like 10 years worth of fucking canned goods or whatever. But this, you know, this is just, wow, that's insane.
Because global warming is happening. Take action and join in on the effort.
There you go. If you're scared about a global catastrophe wiping out all of mankind, one way to cope is to put your belongings in plastic storage bins.
To control a situation that you have anxiety about, you do one thing that addresses what you're afraid of. This is a psychological thing. I know you wouldn't understand it, buddy. I know it's too much for you. It's too much for you.
Or start gardening. Maybe take the LSD before you go gardening just to make it more interesting. Now, it's worth considering just how limp and super...
Andrew said, recycling isn't going to do anything to fix climate change unless the big baddies do their part. Oil companies, industries, polluters, yeah. But, you know, if you get that Publix bag, the Publix bag, that'll stop it. You know, if you get the reusable grocery bag, I think that'll do it. We all just got to get one. If we all just do our part. That's a Mark Maron bit. Anyway.
Superficial this advice is and how inappropriate the whole tone of that video was. If you actually buy the claim that the world is coming to an end because...
What was the tone, man? The tone was supportive, you know, was listening and being supportive. I know that's the tone that you just can't fucking fathom. Like, that's just too much. What do you mean supporting people? You mean you're not just talking down to them, calling them idiots? What? That is ridiculous. They are tone deaf if they're not talking down to everybody like they're stupid, then I don't even know. They don't you know, they're tone deaf.
It's a climate change, which the people who made the video supposedly do. So in one breath, they tell us that
there's more. Check this out. This is from news.cornell. This is from fucking Cornell. Okay. More than 99% of studies agree humans cause climate change. More than 9.9% of peer-reviewed scientific papers agree that climate change is mainly caused by humans, according to a new survey of 88,000 climate-related studies. You fucking moron, okay? They're from all over the goddamn planet. Like, everybody's wrong. All the countries that are doing all the same testing, they're all wrong. Come on, man. How fucking... There's more evidence that climate change is happening very quickly. It's happening 20 to 50 times faster than any other climate change throughout our long history. But it's also there's like we have like more what was I saying? Oh, we have more evidence of it happening than we do of cigarettes causing cancer. There's not as much evidence that cigarettes cause cancer as there is that climate change is happening really fast and caused by humans. That's fucking... How the hell can you deny that? That's insane, right? And like, if you can just look at the fucking information, put in peer-reviewed climate change evidence, and go and find all of the actual legit peer-reviewed science journals. And if you don't know if one is legit, look it up. Is this a legitimate peer-reviewed, study or science journal?
At the end of the world is at hand, and in the next breath, they record a smiley, cheerful video assuring us that plastic storage bins will help us through it.
Like we're supposed to like have. It reminds me of a Fight Club. Remember when they go into the airplane and they replace all of the safety manuals with like people burning and shit? They're like, that's like what he thinks they should have done. Like, just show them like on fire outside and like, like, what do you want them to do, man? It's really weird to criticize this the way that he is, man. It's so fucking strange. The mind of this mindless man.
So there seems to be a disconnect here. And this is the kind of disconnect that's very common among climate alarmists. It's why part of me has a hard time believing that anyone in the world is actually this stressed out about climate change. I mean, I've never met anybody like this.
Really? Oh, man, you with your banjo and your fucking, podunk town of fucking West Virginia or whatever the fuck. Yeah. You guys don't have people there, man. That's why you have to homeschool your kids, because there's no fucking schools around.
I've never encountered in the wild a person who was actually racked with grief and fear because of the environment. I've never had this conversation ever with anyone where they bring up, I'm really troubled right now because of the climate. I've never had that come. Now,
kind of do though, because you're freaking out about the refugees. Well, that's literally caused by the climate, more so than any political refugees. But
that if anyone did have that worry, they probably wouldn't share it with me. But still, I've never encountered...
Because you're a dick. Nobody wants to share anything with you because you're a fucking asshole and a weirdo.
That. And just for me personally, it's a form of anxiety that I just can't relate to in the slightest. I can't wrap my head around it.
He's like so juvenile way of thinking. I've never met somebody, therefore they're not there, not happening. Like this could not be more fallacious reasoning. It's like it's fucking Black Swan, like, which I feel like is one of the most popular logical fallacies is the Black Swan fallacy. Like, just because you haven't seen it, just because you haven't experienced it, doesn't mean that it's not true.
I have anxiety about a lot of things, but I've never spent even 1 second of my life worrying about the climate. Well, who doesn't like to have their windshields clean? Haze and film can easily build windshield outside. Walsh should check ever. It's like stressed about in my life. buildwow.com using code Walsh. So if I were to compile a ranking of like the top...
I want to make it clear too, because I have been having some conservatives that are watching. And if you want to message me, just go to, just email me at punkapostate at gmail.com. And I can respond to your emails here or that way. And I'll read the emails and I'll respond to them on the show. That's my point. I might do that at like the end or something. But I want to make it clear that I watch right-wing content a lot. Like that's what I'm literally doing right now. I watch more right-wing content than I do television, because they're always trying to tell me, well, you're just not listening. You don't actually see the other side. motherfucker, you guys don't see the other side. I'm the one checking on the other side. I'm seeing what they're saying and I'm fact checking it, and they are wrong like 90% of the fucking time. I'd say 95, you know, because it's always like twisted too somehow. To like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but because they're needling at things that don't actually matter, but things that people are afraid of, because that's conservatism. But anyway, so I want to make it clear. I have gone through this entire fucking video, and this is the type of stuff that I do. Okay. I watch what they're saying and I look it up and I check on shit. Okay. So I don't ever want to hear that I'm so super biased because I never even listen to anybody. I do this shit. I guarantee whoever you are, I do it more than you do. Go watch some left-wing content.
500 things I've ever been distressed about in my life. Climate change wouldn't make the list. It wouldn't even make it down near the bottom with the most obscure things I've briefly worried about in the past, like brain-eating amoebas and leprosy. It's just not something that makes it onto my psychological carousel of stuff to worry about.
But leprosy does. Why? Because it's prominently part of your fucking delusional book that you think is historical. So yeah, got it. That's why you're concerned about something that literally isn't a problem, and not concerned with something that not only is a problem, it's a problem you're fucking contributing to in a large way.
That's why I find it hard to fathom those people who are legitimately afflicted by this so-called climate anxiety. But in the end, I do believe that such people exist because the constant apocalyptic hysteria from the media is designed to have
Really?
this effect on people.
What constant, like, apocalyptic? What the fuck is he talking? Like, CNN's just like, we're all gonna die. Like, what are you talking about, man? It's just a reality that we all need to fucking contend with. It's just like the virus. You guys are just like so brave, and then you just pretend like it's not happening. And it's just so everybody can see through your bullshit that you're scared. You're so scared. You're in fucking denial. Now, I don't know if you realize this. Denial is actually something that we learn about in one of the sciences that you don't think is science. And it's when somebody's so afraid that they literally shut down that part of their brain or even allow themselves to contend with it. And it's a complete denial. That's what you're doing, buddy. That's you right now. You fucking, God, this guy is so fucking stupid.
And inevitably, it will have this effect on some people. So if you are one of those people who's...
Need more cowbell, all right? I'm Bruce Dickinson. Yes, the Bruce Dickinson. I put my pants on one leg at a time. Except when I put my pants on, I make gold records.
Dealing with climate anxiety. I have two things to say to you. Here is some eco-anxiety counseling that might actually help you. And I am trying to help you. I'm not being flippant. I really am. So
Christ,
the first thing to realize is,
our Lord and Savior,
is that you don't need to worry about climate change. Not because the climate isn't changing, but because climates always change. It's what they do. I assure you, it's how they're designed. Nature is in a constant state of flux.
How is it? How can he? This is like where the law of non-contradiction just doesn't fucking compute with this genius. You know, how can it not be happening and also just be happening and you shouldn't care about it? How is it these two things? How is it delusional to worry about it if it's also something that just happens all the time? Yeah, it just don't even work. How do you have these two things in your fucking brain? They are in conflict with one another, man. It's called cognitive dissonance.
Changing all the time. There's no reason to worry about this fact. It gets hotter, it gets colder, it rains, it's sunny. This is the way the climate works. You probably don't have to worry about a climate apocalypse. That's not to say
it's literally changing at 50 times the rate that it has ever changed before. Like this, it is time to like take this fucking seriously, man. It's ridiculous that you're like, you know, looking down on people for acknowledging fucking reality. This is flat earther levels of evidence denial. You know, it's embarrassing. I don't know how people can live like this and be like, I'm okay with me. You know, that's probably why he doesn't like hallucinogens, because all the lies that he would tell himself would come out and be like, you know, you're lying about all this fucking shit, right? And you'd be like, ah.
Say that there will never be a climate apocalypse of a sort. I mean, there will be. Eventually, the Earth will become uninhabitable. Look to our neighbor Venus in the solar system, and you'll get an idea of what the Earth will be like one day. Average temperatures of 800 degrees Fahrenheit, clouds of sulfuric acid covering the planet, unbreathable toxic air, just absolute hell. That will be the Earth's fate. But
I mean, we will be all be dead. So, you know, It won't be like hell. Hell is like eternal torch. Anyway,
Probably not for another 2 or 3 billion years. And you probably won't be around when that happens. Now, in the meantime, you have more pressing concerns. There are thousands of other things more likely to kill you, and one of them eventually will kill you. You'll probably get terminal cancer one day, or die of a heart attack, or in a car accident. Who knows? Maybe you'll be murdered tomorrow.
what is the purpose of this? I swear he just wants to give his audience anxiety. That's what it is, so that they can, pretend like they're so tough or something. I don't know. It's like really funny though, but okay, sure. Statistically speaking, I guess, but not even really, because we're talking like 20, 30 years down the line. The odds of climate change killing you will go up exponentially as time moves on. That's just obvious. Like, that's just numbers, man.
Something terrible will happen to you eventually, and it will have nothing to do with climate change.
Bitch.
I'm not sure if this will make you any less anxious, but at least it should make you anxious about more reasonable things. That's all I'm saying. Second point.
And people disappearing one day and just being sucked up into the sky, that's reasonable. And maybe the Antichrist taking over the whole planet. That, again, fully reasonable. One world government. That's not. Yeah, right. Like, that's not. We can't fucking get governments that are literally right next to each other to help each other out. You think that we're gonna have one world one anyway? But yeah, okay.
Even if a climate apocalypse was on the immediate horizon, even if we really were barreling towards an Armageddon caused by our SUVs and air conditioning units, there wouldn't be anything we could do about it at this point. And especially if that involves turning off our air conditionings, then we're definitely, I mean, if you tell me that the way to save the world is to turn off my air conditioning and not use air conditioning in the summer, then I guess the world's just going to end, because we're not doing that.
And that's actually all we really need to know about this guy. He's like, because I'm selfish as fuck and I don't really care about humanity at all. So if something as simple as like, sweating a little bit saves the planet, fuck the planet. That's what that is. Because I don't fucking care. I have a huge platform. Everybody behave like me. Go fuck yourself, man. And if you want help fucking yourself, just go to adamandeve.com. Enter that code word Brentley at checkout. That's BRENTLY at checkout. You can get your exclusive offer, which is 50% off almost any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the entire order. Just go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley, and get your butt some stuff, because the apocalypse is coming. It's like that song in Grease 2 when they're in the it's a very inappropriate song actually. When they're in the shelter, the bomb shelter, and they start making the woman believe. It's actually super inappropriate. I don't even know why I'm talking. That's actually really evil. I never actually thought about it. Anyway, that's super terrible. Don't like that song. Anyway, go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley, and get your exclusive offer. But hey, if there's other ways there's other ways you can support the show. If you want to go to and become a patron, go to Punk Apostate, or you can do a one-time payment at Cash App and at Cash Itag. God damn it, Cash Itag? What the? Kevin, God damn it! I said Cash Tag, not with an I. That doesn't. How does that? Why would it be? God damn it, Kevin! You had one job. Fucking God damn it. Anyway, so the Cash Tag is Punk Apostate. So you can do that if you want to. But the easiest way to support the show is to like, subscribe, share the show, and comment below. If I get anything wrong, if you're unconvinced by the sources I have cited, then that's fine. I'll probably just, I don't know, link them in the response to you. But you can link some responses to me. If you think that you have a source that says climate change isn't happening and isn't something that anybody should give a fuck about, link put a link in the comments and I will check it out. And but if I bring it up on the show and show everybody that it's not worth listening to that one source, whatever, don't get mad at me. Okay. If you do want to email me, go to google.com or what is it? It's punkapostate@gmail.com. So yeah, you can email and get a direct line. But if if you're a patron, they have a direct line. I will be addressing those interactions more than the emails, but I will get to the emails at some point. So, but hey, y'all, thank y'all so much for hanging out. This was super awesome. I'm going to try to do more shit like this. And main thing though is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we'll see you next time.